Hey guys, it's Melanie the Mystic, back with another reading for you here on my YouTube channel at Melanie the Mystic Tarot and More. I'm super excited to be back. And sorry guys, I have allergies and all of that fun stuff, as most of you already know. And so if I'm like breathing heavy, I'm not like sighing or anything. I'm just trying to catch my breath. But anyway, I'm super excited to be back, and Spirit has me doing something different today. And for those of you that, care or, you know, are concerned about the way my channel is going to start changing, I am always overloaded with love messages, and it seems to be mostly what wants to come out, but I pick up on so much more than just love messages. And Spirit said, I need to start incorporating more of other types of readings in, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do that. And eventually, too, I might start a second channel. If you guys would be willing to follow me over there as well, and just do love readings on one and other stuff on the other, or something like that. I'm thinking about what exactly it is I'm going to do here and listening to Spirit's advice and putting some things together. But so this is a little bit different style reading all the way around the board than I normally do for you guys. I do stuff like this outside of here. But anyway, I decided to do a pick a pile past life reading. So we have 6 piles here, all right? And I'm going to pick each one of the stones up and let you guys see closer up, okay, in choosing your pile. But also, too, if you need a longer look, pause it to get a longer, better look. You can use your fingers to enlarge the screen now on YouTube. So if you need to do that, do whatever you need to do in choosing your piles here. I do encourage anyone to choose multiple piles, or to, take an interest in more than one pile here. Okay, we have multiple past lives. Okay, if I haven't mentioned that yet, this is a past life reading. So each of these 6 piles here are going to tell a different past life story. And if you know that you've been reincarnating here for evs and you've lived a ton of past lives, you might want to watch all 6 of these, okay? Others of you, choose whatever is standing out to you, whether it be the type of crystal, how it looks, the color it is, the way I pick it up. I mean, it can be the weirdest reason and why you're choosing the piles that you're choosing. Okay, it doesn't matter why you're choosing them, just that you're drawn to them. So keep that in mind when choosing your piles. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up each of the 6 stones crystals that I used here. I don't know the legit name of all of them, so bear with me. All right, like there's somewhere in this room in a drawer, there's little bits of paper with names that came with all these, but we're not going to go there. All right, so the first pile, pile 1, is going to be this angel or quartz sphere. And I had to use 3 amethyst crystals to make this guy sit still because it didn't want to sit on the cards at all. But it's so beautiful. I love angel aura quartz. I'm feeling called to show you guys. This is a man-made piece of angel aura quartz here that was grown on purpose, and I think it is equally as gorgeous. Look at the way it just sparkles like a rainbow and shines. Oh, it's so pretty. And then it just looks like stone. But I love that glittery, rainbowy shine of all these colors. I think it's beautiful. I love glitter. I love sparkles. You know, I love unicorns. No, but I really do. I love unicorns. But yeah, and this has like a lot of rainbow prisms in them. I'm hoping that from a few different angles there that you might have gotten to see um, it looking really gorgeous. All right, and so pile two, I don't know offhand what this crystal is called, but it's got a very deep purple color, and then it's mixed with black. I'm trying to use the light from the window to help me out. I really love this one. I hand-picked out every single stone I have, which is a lot. You know, from different stores that I traveled around to and things like that. Except for a very small handful. These a good friend of mine got for me, and this is one of the ones she got for me. And this is called Desert Rose, and it's actually very commonly known. They form in the desert, in the sand, or something like that. Don't even quote me on that because I don't even know for sure if that's right. But I think so. But whatevs, it's some kind of like fossil type of stone. But very cool. Let me turn it around this way a little bit. It's very, very intricately put together, it seems, but really just formed in, you know, I guess typical way for this stone because there's a lot of these around. Oh, sorry. I was actually looking at it and I pulled it closer to myself with, like, you know, not even thinking. But all right. And then we have pile number 4. This is one of the ones I recently got, so I don't have its name memorized yet. But I was in love with these tealish, bluish, and blues in this stone. It's absolutely gorgeous. My favorite color is blue, so of course I really loved this stone. Don't mind my fingernails, guys. I'm in between doing them. I just took off the old polish last night and just haven't gotten to it yet. Because I can't do nothing after I paint them because my nails are wet forever. All right, pile number 5. This is black tourmaline. It's like a shaly stone. You can see the different layers to it, kind of like selenite, shaly like that, but this has a more tougher texture to it. Selenite can like crumble apart between your fingers with enough force, but this is not gonna do that at all. This is a solid heavy duty stone. I don't know if this piece is considered polished. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this is supposedly a raw piece of this, and if that's the case, then what I'm saying is correct. But if I was duped and this is polished and it's not raw, then I'm wrong. So, and I don't know for sure, you know. But it is black tourmaline. All right, and then lastly, pile number 6. This is another new stone I got at a psychic fair I did a couple months ago, and so because it's newer, again, I don't have the name for this memorized yet. Eventually I will. I know all my older stones, you know how that goes, but I haven't learned these newer ones all the way yet. But this also I love because, again, it's a blue. I love the teal color. To me, it's throat chakra blue, okay? So maybe whoever's drawn to this pile, you might have something going on with your throat chakra. Maybe it's got a blockage, you need to open it. Or maybe you've recently opened it and you've been speaking your mind more often, saying what needs to be said, going through changes that are pushing you to do so. All right. It's really cool stone. I just absolutely love the blue. I was so excited that there was a stone with this color. Seriously. All right. All right. So go ahead if you need to, pause the video and figure out, or rewind and backtrack and go pick which pile or piles that you are interested in. And what I'm going to do is we're going to break down each pile. I pulled 6 to 8 tarot cards for each of the 6 piles. So there's one card talking about what you were in a past life specifically, and then I pulled the tarot to go deeper on that, and then Spirit said to pull one angel number for each pile, which I will do when we get there, and to pull a couple from my psychic abilities deck that I recently added a whole bunch more messages to. Okay, so we're going to tap into what kind of psychic abilities did you develop from living out these past lives and the types of lessons you were learning. Okay, we're going to tap into what kind of lessons you were learning through the tarot, which is going to lead us to what kind of psychic abilities and things that you developed through these past life lessons that you've went through. All right, and the angel number will just add more messages to all of that. All right, so let's charge those. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with pile 1. All right, guys, so I just paused it for a quick second while I moved the other piles out of the way. All right, so pile 1, welcome to your past life reading on who you were, what kind of lessons you went through. And then we're going to pull an angel number to add to the messages, and from my psychic abilities deck that I created, to see what kind of psychic abilities did you develop from this past life and all of the lessons and things that you learned throughout it. All right, so starting off here with your past life card, you were a Greek or a Roman, okay, and lived a life around like 332 BC to 395 AD. Okay, I looked it up before the reading because this was the only one that I was unsure of, okay, because I don't know a lot about these times, but I know about the Greeks, I know about the Romans. You were one or the other, okay, in your past life, and you lived that long ago. We're talking before Christ, okay, so that's really interesting. So where can we... Can you see that? Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's see what you got for your tarot. All right, so your first card out is the Chariot in reverse with the Queen of Cups in reverse. I'm actually going to put these in front of me to read them to you guys, okay? The Four of Pentacles in reverse. The Six of Cups upright. Hanged Man in the reverse. Three of Swords in the upright. Three of Pentacles in the upright. Ooh, and the Hierophant in the reverse. Wow. Okay, I'll put these cards up here for you guys to look at while you listen, for those of you that like visual stuff. All right. Wow. So I'm going to get started over here with these cards. So with this Chariot in reverse as your first card out, this is really coming through with a big part of the story here being the first card out. And what I'm getting is, so whoever you were, whether you were a Greek or a Roman, you were You were somebody that was sorry, okay, with the Queen of Cups in reverse. You were somebody that was really emotionally immature when you were a Greek or a Roman in this past life. All right. You were emotionally immature and you were really insecure because of your emotional insecurity, because you were emotionally insecure for whatever reasons. You developed insecurities that led you to that point through different experiences, obviously, that you were having in life. But the thing is that led you down a little bit of a darker path, because you started developing negative habits and traits and toxic behavioral thought patterns that were forcing your insecurities to become worse, okay? And gosh, this was such a long time ago. I mean, we're talking, 300 and something BC you could have existed in. But even if you existed in 395 AD, like, still, that is a really long time ago that you lived this life. And the thing is that's what we come here to do, is live life after life after life over and over and over again. Not just a few of us, not just one of us. There's not just one special person that God chose to do that. We all do that for different reasons. And it's to have physical experiences, period. And, level up, become enlightened and evolve. And that's, living that long ago, there was still a lot to learn. Okay. The human race still had a lot to learn, because look at how much we've learned from then to now. Okay, can you imagine how much more civilized we could be and how different we would be if you take that same amount of time from right now towards whenever that would be in the future from now, however long that is? All right. So we have come a long way since then. So there was a lot of different style lessons to learn that long ago. So whoever picked this pile, don't, be hard on yourself over the fact that you were, full of insecurities and emotionally immature because of different experiences that you went through back then, because look at how long ago that was. Okay, everybody else was probably having the same types of problems that you were as well. Okay, as a people, right? We all basically go through very similar types of emotions and feelings and things from different kinds of situations. You know what I mean? So, and it's 5:05. I'm not going to move the camera because I'm like on one really good with channeling right now, and that will make me lose my focus. But yeah, whoever you are, back in this life when you were a Greek or a Roman, you lacked in trust. And so that's where your insecurities all stemmed from, you not being able to trust other people around you. And it's most likely because what I feel like for a lot of you is you went through experiences with at least one or more individuals that you were extremely close to in this lifetime, and this person or these people completely betrayed you in such a dark way, and you never ever expected it. You never seen it coming. Okay, when it happens under those types of circumstances, it affects us greatly. And whoever this was and however they betrayed you, it completely screwed you up. And you were like, I'm hearing, you felt like you were never going to be able to trust anyone ever again. So you went through some really dark betrayals in this past life, which were all lessons, and you learned a lot of information that leveled you up and helped you to become more enlightened, okay, having these experiences. So I'm going to pull these down and start putting these over here. But yeah, I'm getting that also too, because you were stuck for a while in low vibration. you had all these insecurities and were emotionally immature. That was holding you back and keeping you in a lower vibration. So what I'm getting is you were kind of a forceful, bullyish kind of person. You were lacking in direction, and you were also lacking in self-control, because if we have no direction, how can we have self-control? All right, is what I'm hearing. And it was making you really powerless over having control over yourself. And I feel like it's because you were kind of a bully. And if you weren't a bully, you were very bossy. Okay, and you would get aggressive when people wouldn't allow you to coerce them into going along with whatever it was you were saying, or whatever it was you wanted them to do, or what you wanted them to say. You wanted people to just, go along with whatever you said because you were the person in charge. Or, you could have been somebody in a position of being in charge over others. Maybe that's where this authority energy is stemming from, because even though this Chariot's in reverse, I feel like this was you back then, and you were like some authority figure, because you're dressed up in like a uniform. You could have been like a soldier. All right, you could have been one of the Greek or Roman soldiers for like the king or something. You could have been like the king or one of the rulers, okay? Because this man is dressed up and sitting on a throne, okay? But whoever you were some kind of authority figure, I'm getting. And that's why you come off as really forceful and like overly aggressive. And it was your job to coerce the masses around you into following what you were saying, because that's what rulers did back then. So it actually makes sense. So wow, that is really cool. So the next couple of cards we're going to take a look at is the Four of Pentacles in reverse with the Six of Cups in the upright. Yeah, I'm getting, so something here about whenever you were ruling this area or these people or whatever you were doing as like this high-ranking individual, authority figure, some kind of soldier. Okay, back then, being a soldier was way more praised than it is now. You better believe. Serving your king like gave you purpose, or serving the one ruling was like gave these dudes purpose. And I'm not gonna say there wasn't women too, hey, girls can be dudes, hey. But anyway, shedding the old, letting go of people, possessions, or issues. Yeah, I'm getting something about you knew that you had to shed and get rid of this forceful dictator role that you had adapted to, and you adjusted to into becoming this really forceful dictator, tyrant type of individual. And I think that maybe like it feels like your people were starting to revolt against you or something like that, okay, or something very similar along those lines. And you were realizing like, oh man, I have to shed all of this old toxic ways of thinking and these behaviors that I'm negatively displaying to my people here. Because if not, my people are going to let go of me. I can't even make this up. Look, it says letting go of people. Yes, like your people that you were ruling were going to let go of you, revolt against you, turn their backs on you, because they were getting sick of your bullyish, tyrant, dictative ways. All right, you were being arrogant and selfish, and it looks like you were a ruler. You were hoarding too much of the money, too much of the goods, the profit, whatever was money back then, like what, gold and silver and things were money back then. Whatever was abundance back then, you were hoarding a whole bunch extra. Like, look at, you have these Four Pentacles here. that you're hiding from everyone else. So you had 4 times as much as what you were allowing your people to know. But your people found out because of inside connections, okay? You were close to a past life karmic. This person worked for you, I'm hearing, okay? Because like rulers or people that had higher up authority figures or even soldiers had someone or people that worked for them, that was underneath them somehow, that like serviced them or served them in some way, right? So like one of those people turned their back on you and they betrayed you, and it was meant to happen that way. You guys signed up for that beforehand because that was what started teaching you that you had to let go of these dictative ways of being, thinking. Like, you can't be this dictator tyrant anymore. You can't, like, you know, do wrong to your people that follow you and then expect them to praise you and continue to follow you. And this was like a big life lesson that you signed up to come into that life and learn. So it was all set up to go down that way to teach you these important lessons. Wow. Wow, that is crazy. So the next cards we're going to talk about is the Hanged Man in reverse and the Three of Swords. So, yeah, like I was already saying with this Three of Swords, you guys, heartbreak, betrayal. Yeah, there was this huge heartbreak and betrayal that you guys had went through by somebody really close to you. And it probably happened in your childhood days. This could have been a mother or a father. And the thing that happened could have even been, like, for some of you, I'm getting that your mom died giving birth to you. Okay, for some of you, and for others of you, your mother was murdered after you were born, because times were much different back then in BC and AD, okay? So things like people getting killed over the smallest things was way more common. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's like 2 things I'm getting. Also, too, for some of you, your dad may have gotten murdered or lost a fight and it killed him, or got like mauled by an animal or something like that, which are also other popular ways that people would die back in those kind of time eras. All right. But yeah, this could have been like you losing one of your parents to death as a baby, as a newborn, before you even knew them, or even as a young child after knowing them. But just that absent parent altogether really helped you have more of a screwed up mindset, which brought you into like the dictatorship role, being more like a tyrant, being an aggressive, narcissistic type of individual. It was like it erased your empathy, okay, because it made you be angry, it made you be hateful, and so it turned you into this really cold, detached, narcissistic type of individual. And it was easy for you to play this role, whoever you were, as this dictator, this tyrant, okay, this aggressive ruler. All right, I'm hearing it was your way or no way. You were like that queen in the Alice in Wonderland, you know, like Alice in Wonderland, where you were like so easily to be like, oh, just behead him, behead him, behead him, behead him, behead him. You know what I mean? And sorry, but you know, in this long ago for a past life, there was really big lessons to be learned for us as humans, okay? We were kind of just getting started out if you look at how much time we've existed up to now, you know? So you got to start somewhere. And yeah, this is crazy. Whoever picked this pile, wow. You got to experience being a ruler over like a large mass of people. This is crazy. So yeah, and thank you, Spirit. Exactly what I was saying. This Hanged Man in reverse really reiterates that. It's talking about how you became really discontent with being impulsive and negative, and you were really discontent with your negative and toxic patterns and behaviors, and you started becoming really detached from being this king on his throne in reverse, meaning narcissistic, lacking in empathy, not truly loving your people that were worshiping you, or, you know, doing it, living to serve you, basically, because times again were different back then. And you realize, like, you better detach from these negative toxic patterns and this negative way of being and governing over your people before again they revolted against you. Yeah, and what's really cool too, you guys, is you chose to learn and heal from the things that betrayed you, from the ones that betrayed you. You learned to heal and move past that, which is what helped you notice your negative patterns. And then you took notice to the fact that you were becoming stagnant and stuck in your life, and whatever you were doing currently up to that moment was no longer working for you, which is when you become more enlightened. And even though this is in reverse, I'm definitely getting that you took a huge step up in enlightenment here, learning this hard of a lesson through this betrayal or betrayals that you went through, realizing that that shouldn't be what fuels you to be a tyrant, to be this evil, cold, detached person that doesn't love their people, that serve them, you know. And you took a huge turn for the better here. You challenged tradition. You made this huge change where you challenged the conventional tradition of being a ruler, and that rulers had to be tyrants and dictators to force their people to listen. And you challenged that tradition because you decided to make your people a team with you. You joined them and all became a team, and it became teamwork. You and your people were working together. Wow. And because you did that, you learned so much and became so much more enlightened in that lifetime alone, that you accomplished feats of, and like learned so many different lessons within that time frame of you existing, that you almost like beat everyone else, like if it was a competition, which it's not. But I just didn't know how else to get that out. But wow, you guys, this is amazing. So, all right. So let's pull your angel number. And let's find out what psychic abilities and what other messages want to come out of my yellow deck that I created, okay? To that you attained from this life and all the lessons you learned. Sorry, guys, I have to lean back to shuffle because I have to sit up, and it starts to like make my back sore after a bit. All right, so half of these angel numbers I added recently, but I'm going to, if any of those come out, I will intuitively read. I am a numerologist and very much studied angel numbers, so I know a lot about them intuitively and, you know, by studying and memorizing. But half of these, I don't have messages wrote out on them yet. I will be getting to it, but again, those blank ones, I will just intuitively read for you guys. All right. All right, so let's get your angel number. Wow, that was quick. All right. You guys got 2. Oh, you got 3. All right, it is what it is. And I shuffled the crap out of these, but these 2 still stayed together because they weren't in order the way I had them. But you guys got 49, 50, and 100. And so the first message I'm getting from this is, from this past life alone, the kinds of lessons you learned were so big that you like went through this huge transformation I'm seeing. And then see how it counts up to the very next transformation, and then you skipped like 50 transformations ahead of everyone else, is what I'm getting, how you went from 50 to 100. So wow, you guys were freaking amazing back in BC, yo. That's awesome. I'm also getting two with the 100. The one is a new beginning, and it's amplified by 2 zeros. So this past life actually created an amazing new beginning that you had in the next life following after this. All right. So you moved into your next life and you actually developed double the good positive karma by making the changes and becoming a team with your people instead of being like a dictator and a tyrant over them, being an aggressive, you know, control freak kind of leader. You became friends with the people that you were governing over, and they actually ended up loving you that much more and having so much more respect for you. And you created, through that generational curse that you broke in that life, through this huge change that you made, you doubled your karma when you moved into the new beginning in your next life with double the positivity, double the love, double the blessings. Wow. All right. That's amazing. Yeah. And again, with the 4, I'm getting that you guys, you had a lot of archangel presences around you in this past life that were guarding you and guiding you. All right. And back then, there was a lot more prayer, a lot more meditation, a lot more of us being closer to deity, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, the angels, our spirit guides, our ancestors. So you were somebody that was really spiritual. You prayed a lot. You spoke with your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, God, whoever you were praying to. All right. And it made you, with this number 9, very close to the universe and all the universal energies. So wow, that's really amazing. Also, too, you might see the number 49, the number 50, and the number 100. All right. Now, let's see what your psychic abilities were that you got from the lessons you learned in this life. This is so fun, tapping into this kind of stuff. And definitely let me know in the comments how you guys liked this. I'm really excited about starting to do different readings that are, you know, not about love, because love messages will always dominate and always come through because there's always something going on there, you know what I mean? Good and bad. So, but that's not all, you know, life is about. All right. Clear the deck. All right, let's see what we get. What psychic abilities did they receive living this past life and learning these lessons? Take these. Okay, we have 3. Any more? 2 more. All right, that feels about right. 5. So let's see what we get. Let's just flip them over. You have empathy that makes you extremely sensitive to others. Yes. When you chose to fight against the pain and betrayal and heartbreaks, okay, that like totally messed you up and turned you into this no empathy having, narcissistic, cold, detached individual that was hateful and angry towards others, you chose to fight against that. You broke a generational curse there by teaming up with your people instead of dictating over them, or however that's, I'm supposed to say that. But yeah, that lesson in itself taught you empathy, and you learned how over time to become extremely sensitive to your people individually, okay, with, you know, learning how to be sensitive to each different person in your, you know, under your ruling. Each person had something different. Like this guy's daughter was sick, and back then, remember, things were different. There wasn't like medicine to just cure everything, and everything wasn't, you know, easier to come by, and like there was just a lot more like crap going on and way more to deal with. And it's like, us today couldn't even deal with the kind of stuff they had to deal with back then. You know what I mean? But yeah, you really just learned how to be sensitive and compassionate towards others, which made your people love you. All right. I'm also getting to, like, you went on to rule like for many, many, many years after you switched and teamed up with your people instead of dictating, and it was, you kind of started a movement, I'm hearing, where because of you doing that, other rulers saw that it actually was way more positive to treat your people better and be a nicer person and help your people instead of being, you know, a jerk, a tyrant, a dictator, a Hitler. You know what I mean? It's like you started a movement and they were like, wow, look at that, worked out really well for them. We're going to try it too. All right. So you also have, you're going through a transformation that is bringing you into proper alignment with your soul. Yes, so that's what was going on in this life. You were going through these huge transformations that I got intuitively through your angel numbers. That's what this card is definitely talking about. It was this big transformation from 49 to 50 that you went through, those two back to back. And because you aced those, if you will, you like jumped 50 points ahead of the game because you did so well learning this lesson. Wow. So it says you're experiencing dark night of the soul. Yeah, this big transformation that's back to back here, that was like your dark night of the soul. And this first part was you realizing you needed to let go of being an aggressive dictator, okay? And learning that just because somebody hurt you doesn't mean that you should go around hurting other people. And when you learned that, you know, you went into the second part of the dark night of the soul, and then you learned certain things and healed certain areas of yourself that allowed you to team up with your people and be a nicer person and learn how to have empathy and feel and care for others and, you know, not worry about being better than other people. And like I said, you started some kind of movement. Your spirit guides heavily influence your, yeah, like, remember I already said too, intuitively, your spirit guides, you were really close. You prayed a lot, you meditated a lot, you talked to your spirit guides a lot, your ancestors, your angels, God, deity, whatever it was. All right. And yes, what did I say? You guys were surrounded by archangels that were always with you in this lifetime, guiding you and helping you. I love it. So, all right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys with all my heart. And we're going to move to pile 2 now. All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to pile number 2. If you chose pile number 2 in this purple and black stone that I don't have the name of it memorized yet, this is your reading. So, your first card is your past life card. And ooh, look at this. So you were a high priest or a high priestess, whether you were a man or a woman. All right. High priest is what men were called, and high priestess is what women were called. All right. So you were a high priestess, man or a woman. All right, let's see what you got for your tarot. So first card out is the Page of Cups in reverse. Then you got the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Ooh, the Emperor in reverse. The Nine of Swords in reverse. The World card in reverse. Page of Pentacles in the upright. And the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Wow. A lot of reversals, but I'm not surprised because this is a past life. So pile 2. I'm going to get started here and just move through. We're going to start with the first two cards here. So the Page of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So, all right. So pile two, this starts out really heavy duty, but it is what it is. Okay. So in this past life, you started out by being abused sexually in your childhood. Okay. You were just a little kid, a child, a baby. All right. And you experienced some kind of sexual abuse, okay, in your childhood years, that really broke you, okay? It broke you down to where you almost felt like you were nothing, all right? And that makes a lot of sense, too, with these other cards that I'm seeing. Okay, now I just want to put out there that this isn't going to be a really negative past life reading, pile number two, because basically what I'm getting is you guys, overall what I'm seeing before I break it down to you guys broke through this generational curse of, you know, just because you got sexually abused as a child doesn't mean that you had to carry that negativity with you throughout the rest of your life. Like, you ended up becoming some kind of alchemist, okay, and or high priestess. A high priestess or priest is an alchemist as well, all right? So you know, you figured it out. You definitely did, or you wouldn't be coming out as this high priestess, okay? But, you know, in your childhood in this lifetime, you went through those really dark times, and it really broke you. It broke your spirit, and it just really scarred you and emotionally hurt you in ways that seemed like they would be unhealable, but you did figure out how to heal yourself, all right? But you were lacking in balance. This really threw everything about you off balance for quite a long time. Most of your upbringing in younger years, okay, like through your teenage years, or this could have been happening through your teenage years, all right, depending on like what time era we were talking about here. This does feel like an extremely long time ago, all right? I'm really getting like the energy that this was such a long time ago that people actually dressed like this woman here. Like, there was people that actually dressed like this regularly. That's how long ago. And I know people be wearing stuff like that now, but you know what I mean. But yeah, and so the first part of your life, you were living in poverty, okay? And it was because you were lacking in the proper balance that you needed within your own self, with your own healing, all right? That was starting your emotional issues with everything you went through abuse-wise, was taking a toll on you, and it had you ungrounded to the point where you started making really poor financial decisions, or you just already were making really poor financial decisions. But I do see that that changed for you, because then you come back out later in the reading in the upright as the Page of Pentacles, okay? But with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse, okay, and this Emperor in reverse, I'm getting that you went through a lot of unexpected changes, financial disasters, losing everything you had, or just going through times, depending on what time era this was you were living in this past life. You could have been homeless. You could have been just broke and had nothing. You could have been a drifter. Somebody that just traveled from town to town begging, you know, to see what you can get and then move on to the next town, you know, and you realized that there was no way you were going to be able to continue to live this way, because it had you in so much stress, anxiety, negativity. and you just knew that you didn't belong in that low of a vibration. You just knew it wasn't right, that it wasn't meant for you to be broke, to have nothing. It wasn't meant for you to be homeless or a drifter. It wasn't meant for you to be experiencing huge loss after loss after loss. And you knew it. You knew it deep down in your soul. You knew it. And so what I'm getting, and this is really interesting too, with this Emperor in reverse, it's telling me that whoever you were in this past life, you had abused your power a little bit in the life before this life. All right, stay with me. And some of that karma that you had to pay back negatively followed you into this life. Okay, this past life that this reading is about. And you were forced to live out the first half of your life here in this past life we're doing the reading about, dealing with a lot of negative karma that was hitting you from all areas. And not the sexual abuse was not negative karma for you. That was a life lesson. Everything is a lesson. That was not karma. Karma hits us in different other ways. Like, karma will make life difficult for you in multiple different ways so that you have to work harder, you know, do more, or it makes things more difficult, harder to achieve. You know, like the universe gets karmic debt out of you by overworking you. Okay, so then we're not going to open up that whole can of worms because that's a lot, but yeah. So I didn't want anybody to be like, did she just say that the sexual abuse was karma? No, but there are some people that believe that to be true. I just personally don't. Okay, everyone can believe whatever they want. I'm not here to argue. I just believe what I believe, and I feel that everyone should be able to believe what they believe, period. End of story. But anyway, whoever you were in this life, you dealt with a lot of this karma, negative karma, because in the past life before this, you were this emperor. All right, and you see he's sitting on the throne. So because this is from a very, very, very long time ago, like I'm getting, like, I see castles, knights on horses carrying swords and shields. All right, so you know kind of roundabout what kind of time era we're looking at here. All right, the sword and the stone days. But yeah, you could have been a king, you could have been a ruler, you were somebody, an authoritative type of figure. You could have been an emperor, literally. Okay, but you were an evil one, a dictator, a tyrant. All right, the first pile number one was about this as well, an evil dictator and tyrant. So maybe if for some of you, you picked pile one, you were right, that does go with pile two. Or if you didn't watch pile one, you might want to watch pile one, because it might be like the second part of this story. But for some of you, it does feel like this emperor that you were very evil, and you did that for a whole lifetime. Then you died, came reincarnated, became a ruler again, because Spirit wanted to teach you about your dark ways and help you learn the lessons you needed to learn in becoming less dark. And that is what pile one is talking about. So it's kind of like part two to this number two reading. But anyway, yeah, it's like you went through a lot so that you could learn in this next life here, where you're this high priestess, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There was room for you to be able to improve yourself so that you could recover from your bad choices and the mistakes that you had made. All right. And you knew that you needed to let go of negativity and stress in order to do so. So it's like for some of you, if you resonate with pile 1 as well, you lived 2 different lifetimes back to back here where you had to go through severe lessons about being emotionally insecure, emotionally unstable, emotionally immature. Okay, this seems like the same type of lesson here. But just through a different way. It just came through differently. But with the World card and the Page of Pentacles, it's like you ended up realizing after this lesson in this life that it was more important to focus on manifesting new beginnings for yourself, manifesting ways to make money, to be abundant, to be able to care for yourself. Okay. And again, I'm feeling like this was way back in these olden days. Okay. Like way back where people walked around dressed like this. Okay. And like it was typical for there to be drifters and things like that. That's why I said maybe you were a drifter in the beginning of this life for some of you. For others of you, you may have been born into this life here already in line to take over some kind of throne and be some kind of ruler, because your dad may have been on that throne and you were like the firstborn son to take it over next or something like that. But yeah, basically this was another lesson for you to learn to be more focused on manifesting achievements. So that way your whole life isn't a disappointment because it was nothing but burdens and lack of completing things. You were here to open up to being this high priestess that you were so that you could go through all these unexpected changes that came at you from all different kinds of directions here that were ungrounding you, throwing you off balance, making you anxious, stressed, making you feel like you had all these burdens, losing all of your money, being homeless, a drifter, not having anything, not having any friends or family. Okay, you went through a lot of dark lessons here in this life, but it was all rewarding in the end because it taught you really valuable information about setting your goals ahead of everything else and being goal oriented and developing a plan so that you can lay the foundation to what your goals are and taking advantage of whatever opportunities you had, around you, and jumping all in and being consistent, learning how to be consistent is also a lesson here too, I'm getting. But not to mention, you also, when you changed your mind frame and the way you thought things through, and it changed the way you were manifesting things for yourself, and you started to achieve way more for yourself, and things started going way better for you. Wow, that was really interesting. So let's pull an angel number to add to this. And this, I added more angel numbers recently. So there's cards where it's just a number and the rest is blank. I will write in little meanings, but I haven't yet done that. So half of these have the meanings wrote on them that I already had done, and the other half is the new angel numbers I added, and I'm just going to intuitively read those ones if they come out. All right. So let's clear the energy in the deck. All right. Let's see what we get. Angel numbers, please, to add to pile number 2's reading. Any more, or are you just going to go with one? Pile 1 got 3, so I figured why not. We're going to go with 2. Look I split the deck. I didn't want you guys to think I was making shit up, but you got number 16, karma, higher knowledge. I can't believe it. What was this whole reading about? You gaining a higher knowledge, becoming a high priest or a high priestess, or stepping into your abilities of being a high priest or a high priestess, meaning you become an alchemist, you become a medium between the realm of the living and the realm of the dead. Like, you sit in between worlds. You are opened up to all spirits and everything within the spirit realm, which is a higher knowledge. Okay, that is knowledge that you are connected to, that not everyone is connected to even now, and you were connected to it way back then. Okay, and it, towards the second half of your life, it made you famous. People knew who you were. They knew you were a high priestess. They knew of your gifts and abilities. They heard all about you because everyone spoke of you. Everyone knew who you were, and it was because of the amazing wisdom that you had to share. Wow. So you could even still be drawn to the number 16 in this life, but don't have to be. Oh, you have 4 here. All right, let's see what else. You got a new one I just added, 707. Look at this. This is one of the new ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 555. Significant changes, level up largely, deepen your spiritual practices. I cannot make this up. Thank you, Spirit. So remember what I was saying, pile number 2, about you becoming this high priest or high priestess? Well, you already were this high priestess, but you had to go through some serious healing here through, you know, your horrible abuse that you endured as a child. But you did. You beat that generational curse for all of your family after. So know that you did an amazing thing. You leveled up largely because of this, and it very much deepened your spiritual practices to where it created huge, significant changes in the rest of your life after that. And look at, as we're looking at 555, I can't make it up. The clock says 5 freaking 50. Look at that. That is amazing. Sorry. But wow. And then with 707 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm kind of like getting this whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know 6 isn't there, but 7, it's almost like this long number, like counting upwards. So it's like you lived several lifetimes before this lifetime that we're tapping into for this past life reading, that we're all building up to you becoming this high priestess. Like, you weren't just handed those gifts and abilities and that wisdom and the ability to sit in between worlds and all of that and connect and channel. You weren't just given all that. You went through up to 7 lifetimes before this life that you had to learn 7 different lifetimes of things in order to be able to be this high priestess in this past life. And for others of you, it was like you had to live these 5 lifetimes. And then like the 707 kind of represents for me, like maybe that's your number, or you're connected to 7s, or 707 has something to do with you, or has something to do with like your birth chart or your star chart or something, your numerology chart or something, because maybe your life path number 7. All right. But something, because for those of you that I feel like I'm picking up for this, like I said, you live these 5 important lifetimes, learning lots of life full of lessons to bring you to this 7th life or something where you became this high priestess or something like that. All right. So let's pull from my psychic abilities deck that I created and see what, I'll sit up in a second. What psychic abilities did you guys acquire from the lessons you learned in this past life we just tapped into? It should be some big abilities here because you were a high priest or high priestess, which is, you know, a pretty big deal. It means you were a psychic, you were a medium, you were intuitive, you were sensitive, empathetic. Okay, you could read energy. You probably understood numbers like no other. Yeah, you also may have been really good at math in this past life. Like whatever math was at the time you were alive, you really understood numbers. Maybe you were some kind of tutor with other people when it came to numbers. All right, I cleared the deck and let's see what comes out for what were your psychic abilities that you acquired from these life lessons. Pile number 2. Okay, so those just flew out. Oh, it was just one. Oh, sorry. Dang it. All right. It was just one. Jeez, that took a minute. Ooh, nice. You got energy medicine. What else, Spirit? This one, too. Any more? Okay. All right. You guys got quite a few there. So first one out was energy medicine. So one of the spiritual gifts or psychic abilities, whatever you want to call it, that you attained from lessons you learned in this past life of being a high priestess or high priest is you were, I don't know what to call this, but you had an ability called energy medicine. Okay. And that means you had the ability to heal other people with your empathy through just speaking words to them. Okay. Now it's 5:55. I'm not going to move the camera because it was just 5:50. I'm obviously not lying. It was 5 minutes ago, but now it's 5:55 and I noticed it on the clock. So whoever you are, like I was born at 5:55. So maybe you were born at 5:55. Maybe you're another triple fives because it's 5:55 right now. You got that card and it seems really significant. Okay, but also fives mean changes. So you made a lot of huge changes in this past life of yours that caused you to go through major shifts. Okay. Yeah, and also too, you gained this ability back then where you could mentally understand people. Okay, you can mentally understand spirits around you, which is why you've been chosen to be this high priest or priestess, this psychic medium that communicates between the living and the dead. You are like the receiver, the conduit. You know, you're the frequency that attaches the living to the dead to get messages through. And you were handpicked and chosen for this. And that's why you had to go through like this multiple lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of lessons and like really hard kind of lessons too. Like, I mean, we already talked about the sexual abuse in the beginning of this life. And this was, you know, after you lived all these other lives with even more crazy stuff that you had to endure and complete in order to get to where you were in this past life. Wow, so you had a really close connection with Archangel Tahariel, and he is a really strong archangel presence that helps you and anyone else honor their sensitivity because you are a rainbow child of innocence. So what I feel like that's saying is whoever you were as this high priestess or priest, you were very close in prayer and meditation to your archangels, especially Tahariel. And Tahariel was helping you over a period of time learn how to be less of this Emperor energy, which is somebody that can be cold and detached and not very sensitive, okay, not very empathetic. Archangel Tahariel helped you open up to your sensitivity by honoring being sensitive as like something special and not as a weakness. Wow. Yeah, you were given the ability to be able to tap into the Akashic records anytime you want, any minute, any second of any day, at any time, as much as you want. You gained that in this past life. So that means you carry all of this up with you now, currently. All right. Yeah, your root chakra had a lot of blockages. Remember I talked about with the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, you were really out of balance. Something and someone was really ungrounding you. That's your root chakra when you're ungrounded. And you had to figure out in this past life that you had to unblock your own root chakra from negativity and energies and toxicity and different things. And once you figured that out, you were on it. Okay, you were on it, and you were teaching other people too. All right, it's time to start a new cycle in your life. Be excited instead of fearing the changes that come with this. Yeah, and that's what you did in this past life. You stopped fearing the significant changes that you knew were going to come with you accepting the position of being this high priestess that you were meant to be, that you were trained to be many lifetimes in a row, to be this high priestess. And you finally let go, which is what unblocked your root chakra. Okay, you finally let go of being afraid to allow these changes to take place within you. Wow. And then that's when you really embrace being this high priest or high priestess. And I'm getting to that whoever you were, you taught and passed on so much valuable information to so many people throughout the rest of your life, and that you were remembered and talked about for a very long time. So that is freaking amazing. So, wow. So thank you so much, pile 2. We're going to move on to pile 3 now. I love you guys with all my heart, and I will see you guys next time. All right, guys, I'm back. I paused it for a quick sec to clean up pile 2, and welcome to your reading if you chose pile number 3 with the Desert Rose. All right, so your first card out is your past life. And okay, so your past life, whoever chose pile 3 here, your whole past life was surrounded around some really deep vows that you took. All right, so this could have been a lot of things. You could have vowed to take a vow of silence, like a monk. Okay, you could have been a monk. All right, this lady has on like this brown cloak, kind of like, not to, you know, be stupid, but it kind of looks like a potato sack, you know, because way back when clothes were made out of like potato sack kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying, before like we became more civilized and, you know, had more stuff or whatever. But also too, this could have been like a vows that you made when you married someone or something like that as well. So let's see what comes out. So you got the Strength card, the King of Pentacles in reverse. Put this over here. The Two of Wands in reverse, the Justice card, the Wheel of Destiny in reverse, and the Four of Cups in reverse. Wow. So, all right, pile number 3. So what I'm getting here is you guys Now, you could have definitely made other vows because vows is your main thing. So, this past life was about you making maybe several vows throughout. And really, that's just like promises to yourself. Like, when someone takes a vow of silence, they're just stating their intentions. I am going to take a vow of silence starting from right now. I will never speak again for the rest of my life, and whatever. And then, boom, start not speaking and fulfilling that vow that they took. All right. So maybe you took several vows in this life and they were all very meaningful. So starting out with the strength card and the King of Pentacles, right away, I'm seeing for a lot of you that you did take a vow with this masculine King of Pentacles individual in this life. So whoever you are, I'm feeling that you were a woman, okay, because there is a woman on this vows card. I'm feeling like you were a woman in this life, and you took a vow to be loyal to this King of Pentacles. But the problem here is this King of Pentacles was actually just a karmic soulmate for you. But this was so long ago in history that no one even knew what soulmates were, probably. And if they did, they sure didn't know that there was like karmic ones and twin flame ones and these ones and that ones. You know what I'm saying? Because this was a long, long, long time ago that you lived this life, way before modern civilization. And so you didn't know that this masculine was just coming in to be a karmic lesson for you, to teach you inner strength with yourself and courage and how to be brave and stand up for yourself and set proper boundaries for yourself. And you were supposed to learn how to tell people no through this individual by telling him no. And the thing is this was a really hard lesson for you because it took you like your whole life to figure it out. Oh my gosh. You stayed with this masculine your whole life, is what I'm getting. Okay. And the thing is way back in this kind of time era, Spirit is saying, when someone took a vow of marriage with another person to be faithful, loyal, honest, true with that person and love them for the rest of their life, no matter what, through thick and thin, till death do us part, they were very serious about the words that they spoke. And if that vow was taken between you and this husband, then you were going to fulfill it until the day that you died. And that's what you did. But what you didn't realize is you were here to learn a really tough lesson for that time era that was so long ago. Because like I already said, that's why Spirit had me say no one back then knew what freaking twin flames were, and karmic soulmates and these karmic cycles and breaking generational curses. No one knew about that kind of stuff. That's not the kind, that was like esoteric secret knowledge that very, very few around the world had access to that kind of information. You know what I mean? You had to know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody to get that kind of information. And it wasn't free either. Yeah, you had to like trade something for it. You know what I'm saying? But this was back in those same days too, where people traded things because if it was worth something, it was money. All right, so there wasn't cash yet, like our money now. That wasn't in existence yet. Of course, there was coins and things, but no paper money. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was writing checks. Nobody was using plastic credit cards, right? People were like, hey, I have 5 apples and a loaf of bread. Trade me for your, I don't know, your hay and straw, because I have to feed my horses. I have this garden and I grow my food, so I can trade you the food I grow for the hay and straw that you grow in your garden. You know, it was in those kind of days where anything you had that was worth something was abundance. It was money. It was tradable. And so people were, like I said, in those days were very serious, okay, about the vows that they spoke. And So this man that you married and you took these vows with to, love him forever and be his wife, basically, was a very ungrounded masculine energy. Okay, yes, he was a king, but he placed himself on this throne, but didn't actually belong there. That's why he's in reverse. All right. He definitely was arrogant, conceited, and selfish. Okay. He was very unempathetic towards others, no sensitivity whatsoever, no compassion towards others. This dude was a miser, and Spirit is showing me Scrooge from the famous story Scrooge. Okay, he was this old miser that was the richest guy in the town where everyone else was poor, and he refused to share with anyone because it was his. It was mine, mine, all mine. That's this person you took these vows with. All right. They were really just a karmic soulmate for you to teach you a lot of really dark lessons that you couldn't learn without being connected to this evil individual. And I say evil because this person had no empathy. So this was like a narcissist, but way, way, way back before anybody knew what that was. And this masculine you were married to here, they were very corrupt businessmen, but because of that, he was very rich. And back in these days, when barter was our form of money in abundance, the more you had, the more important you were. All right. And I mean, people were starving to death back then just because they were poor and didn't have access to what they needed and had no money. So if you had stuff, then people practically worshiped you. It was a very twisted time era, but it was part of human evolution and what we had to go through, right? But yeah, this masculine you married here, he was very corrupt in running his business, and was into like extortion, and didn't have any problem taking from other people, as long as he constantly stayed up and had plenty of abundance and money to take care of himself and whoever he so choose to share it with. You are the one person I see here, the only person I see here, that whoever this husband of yours was, this masculine that you took these marriage vows with, you were the only person that he truly shared everything with. But you were also limited too. Okay, this man was very abusive. So this life looks like you endured physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, okay, and whatever else kind of abuse there is that I didn't say or could be that I don't know about. You went through it all stemming from this one masculine in your life that you took marriage vows with. You didn't understand, because no one did back then, that it was okay to break a vow, that you didn't know that this man was a monster and was going to tear you down in every way possibly energetically and destroy you energetically. You didn't know when you took that vow. And it's like, I'm also getting to something about you took some other vows too that you actually went back on for this masculine. So it's like you did it for him, but didn't think it was right to do it for yourself. And that's part of like the messed up thinking that went on in certain individuals way back in this time era that was a long time in the trade and barter days. Okay. And it's like people didn't realize that, taking a vow but not having all of the knowledge surrounding it, that it was okay to change your mind. It is okay to make a mistake. You're just human. You're here to make mistakes and learn from them. But people didn't understand that back then. So you didn't know that this masculine you married was just a mistake that you were supposed to learn from. He was a mistake that you made. The vows you made with him was a mistake. You know, it was part of you learning a bunch of different lessons and attaining lots of knowledge and wisdom surrounding you making this mistake. But you kind of turned it into a whole lifelong situation here, and it was never meant to be. It was never meant to be. Although it wasn't a wasted life experience, you learned many valuable lessons, but some of the lessons you learned were repetitive cycles because you already learned that lesson from this masculine. And so some of the lessons started becoming repeating cycles, which is what happens when we stay with a karmic partner for too long. Those karmic soulmates are only meant to teach us certain things, and it's all they can teach us. They're not equipped to teach us any more than what they were sent in to teach to begin with. So the problem is, once we learn what we were supposed to learn from them, there's no room for growth. There's no expansion there from that point on. It will just start repeating the same stuff you learned through a different way, but you're still going to learn the same thing. So you're just doing a bunch of extra work for nothing. But again, you didn't know this back then. Most people didn't know this or have access to any kind of information like that to even know. You would have needed to trust your intuition, but I feel like this masculine was really overbearing with you and was up your ass every chance they could be. And they had you emotionally manipulated and mentally manipulated into believing that your life was to serve them. Okay, and for some of you, this person could have attacked you in this life currently and has been attacking you in every life since as a jealous, crazy, psychotic, romantic partner. Oh my God, Zane, you scared the shit out of me. My cat just jumped on me and scared me. But yeah, this could be some crazy romantic partner that is some psycho chasing after you or trying to wreak havoc in your life, or already tried to and you got away from him, or something like that. Okay, not for all of you, but for some of you, that could be a repeating thing. Karmics will keep coming at us lifetime after lifetime, because if you're willing to repeat the same cycle with them, it's their job to try to trick you into doing that. Okay. But yeah, you were so deathly afraid of changes. You feared change so much. And I feel like this masculine you took vows with, he tricked you into this through manipulation by placing ideas in your head for you to be afraid of. He created things for you to be afraid of and then inserted those fears and anxieties straight into your mind through controlling you mentally. This man had a lot of mental control over you, which put him in quite a bit of control over you entirely. It's almost like you didn't have any other way of learning or knowing anything else, so you had to believe what this man was telling you. And he was your husband, the one you were with, the one that was providing for you and taking care of you. So he was like, hey, I wouldn't be providing for you and feeding you and caring about if you live or die if I didn't love you, if I wasn't the only one in your life that cared about you. Like, come on, man. Abuse goes way back, even to the trade and barter days, right? There were people being abused then just like there are now, you know, in similar ways. It's called manipulation, lies, trickery, okay? But yeah, like he got all up in your head and put all these fear-based scenarios, like if you ever left me, this could happen to you or that could happen to you. Yeah, well, anything can happen any day at any time to anyone, right? But this person knew that that would scare you enough, and it kept you in this indecisive energy, which then restricted your options, and you stayed stuck with this person. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is out here because this masculine that you were with, they went through a whole lifetime of negative karma after this life here. After them abusing you, manipulating you, deceiving you, tricking you into staying with them the whole life instead of you moving on to discover your purpose, which you never did in this life because the wheel of fortune is in reverse. You never found your purpose. You never went down the right path, all because this masculine, he paid back an entire lifetime or more of negative karmic debt. And that, listen, I can't even give that phrase justice. When you pay back negative karmic debt, it is unreal. So difficult. It's like the universe making every single thing difficult for you. Like just bending over and picking a penny off the ground is the most hardest thing you ever had to do. And that's just the easiest thing on your list of shit to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that person really paid for what they did there. But yeah, it's freaking crazy. Sorry guys, I hope you can see this okay. Zane is on my lap now because he is rude and doesn't care that I'm trying to do something and I can't barely reach. But yeah, like I said, this Wheel of Destiny in reverse and then this Four of Cups in reverse, it's like you were given multiple opportunities from the universe here, okay, to get you out of that karmic situation with that masculine you took marriage vows with. The universe tried to show you through multiple signs and synchronicities with this Wheel of Fortune card in reverse. The universe was showing you the signs that you needed to get away from that masculine, that man, but you were under his spell, so to speak. His mental abuse and emotional abuse, you were totally so deep in the manipulation and the illusions he was casting for you to believe. And, you know, for that time era, there was no internet. There was no TV. You may have been limited. You may have not even been allowed to leave your hut, your house, whatever you want to call it. And they weren't called houses back then. A hut, you know. But you might not have even been allowed to like venture out and even talk to other people. So this man, it feels like, was the only person that you ever had to communicate with. So you had no choice but to trust him and what he said. So it was a real fucked up situation that you were trapped in here in this life. And Spirit realizes that, you know, you screwed up. You didn't see the truth. You stayed true to this person, which kept you from, you know, going down your path to your purpose. But there were external forces at work here that were out of your control, and you could not change that. And the universe saw it, and Spirit saw it and knew it. So that's why, you know, you were just brought back in the following life as a redo to do what you were supposed to do. And this man was brought back to just live a whole life of dealing with karmic debt, okay, which I'm going to tell you right now was not no fun, all right? Yeah, and Spirit tried so hard to like motivate you to not want to be stagnant and stuck with this masculine. But then you would regret too much, or you would fear too much, or there was just too much that he mentally manipulated you into believing, thinking, knowing. And it was just, after so many years of this, it was just too far gone at that point. You just weren't gonna see the truth. But again, these were much different times back then as well. All right, so now what we're going to do, pile 3, is I'm going to pull you a couple angel numbers. All right, and intuitively add messages to your reading from those. And then we will finish up by using my Psychic Abilities deck that I created. And I'm going to pull, Zane is so irritated because I won't shut up. He is so severe. He's like, I'm trying to go to sleep, bitch. Oh, look, I read his energy. He got up and is leaving my lap as we speak. Bye, love you, bye. Bye, bye. I didn't invite you, bye. But anyways, hold on, guys. Zane dropped some hair on me. And we just got rid of his fleas, so I'm just making sure There's no flea eggs or... All right. So, anyways, back to the angel numbers. Let's see what we get. Angel numbers, please, for pile number 3. Wow, this is really fun doing these past life readings. I'm really enjoying this. It's nice to do something besides love readings. All right, so I just feel called out to show you that the back of the deck is 909. All right, so you guys got, ooh, look at that. 1313, so death and rebirth, radical transformation, pursuing your passions. So that's what happened in this life. You were supposed to go through this whole rebirth, transformative transformation that was supposed to tap you into your inner strength, courage, bravery, your confidence. So your confidence was going to grow from you being brave and courageous and tapping into your inner strength, and you were supposed to stand up to this masculine and tell him what he could go do and leave him, but you never completed that lesson. You never got yourself out of this abuse that you were in through manipulation and whatnot that you didn't even realize was going on. And Spirit realized that you didn't not fulfill your purpose on purpose. You were actually coerced into and manipulated into not following your true destiny here by this third-party individual, this masculine that you married. And because of the time era it was way back then, you were very limited. This masculine was all you had, and he was the one that fed you and made sure you didn't die, literally. He was the reason you were surviving and living, and he kept you down like that on purpose so that you could never leave him, and it worked, unfortunately, okay? Some lifetimes that's the kind of way it goes, you know what I mean? But yeah, what he did was he kept you from going through this radical transformation where you were going to pursue your passions and then fulfill your purpose, whatever it was in that life. But the thing is, he stopped you from doing that, and that's why the universe stepped in. Nines represent the universal energies and the universe we exist in, and so does 0. So it's crazy that this was coming out on the back of the deck, and I was drawn to it because you guys freaking got double the universal energies were like all over this situation because there was big things that you were meant to fulfill as your purpose that this man held you back from. So when I say that he lived a whole lifetime of bad karma to pay back for holding you back from what you were meant to fulfill in this life, he may have lived 9 lifetimes back to back here. 9 freaking lifetimes to pay back the karmic debt that he owed for stopping you from fulfilling your purpose. That is crazy. All right. Ooh, we also have number 4. And I just got to see. Number 5. Shut up. And I've been shuffling and using these throughout the day. So that's, you know, really crazy that 4 and 5, it came out back to back. So yeah, basically when you got a second chance here, because when you came back the very next life, the universe set up for you to be in a similar position to fulfill the same purpose that you didn't get the chance to. All right. By giving you the opportunity to relive things as a second chance in the next life after this, because the universe felt like you got cheated out of your purpose because of all of the circumstances surrounding this. And I'm telling you, a lot of it had to do with the time era where it was the trade and barter times, and life was very rough and very hard to live and survive back then. You didn't have some kind of knowledge. You didn't have access to certain things, if you didn't have certain types of connections with certain kinds of people, you were kind of on your own and totally screwed, right? So yeah. But what Spirit did is the next life, you it's like they made sure you were extra guarded with a specific spiritual team that came with you to guard you, protect you, and guide you to make sure that you were able to live out your purpose on this second chance, okay? And what you did get to do is you went through your radical transformation, you pursued your passions, okay? Whatever they were, they'd be different for all of you. And your life was stable because of you, and you didn't have to rely on someone else to make sure of your survival. You made sure of your survival. You were stable and sturdy. You gained a lot of maturity through the wisdom that you were learning and the evolution and the growth that you were experiencing. Also, you got this gift here, this blessing from God, where in the next life after this, you got to realize what a stable mind you really had, how intelligent you really are. The things that you knew were actually true, and you totally knew and understood the entire time, both lives, that you were connected to archangels. Their presence was always with you, protecting you, guarding you, helping you. You were just this evil masculine that you were married to in the life before, which is what this reading is about. Sorry, guys. He convinced you that you were crazy and that you were unstable, that you weren't mature enough to keep yourself alive and live and get by. And you believed him because he forced those beliefs onto you through manipulation, okay? And you didn't know. But in the next life, you were that and then some. You were so much more than you would have even been the first time, and that was part of the extra blessings given to you, because that shouldn't have happened that way, but it did. Sometimes stuff like that happens that way, right? God always makes it right, okay? And the kinds of changes that you went through the conflict that you went through in the whole lifetime of abuse with this evil masculine, it made you that much more curious in that next following life where Spirit gave you the second chance, and you did it. You did it. All right? So let's see what comes out for your psychic abilities before we end this. What kind of psychic abilities, Spirit, did pile number 3 get from these lessons learned? And for you guys, over the 2 lifetimes since that came out. All right, clear the energy. And let's see. What psychic abilities did pile number 3 attain from these lessons? Oh, I was just going to say, boy, not much is coming out for 2 lifetimes. And then 85 cards just fell on the floor. Yeah, that I believe. So by your second lifetime, when you were given the second chance and you were away from that evil masculine, you were gifted with the ability of being an amazing manifester, where almost anything you say or think would happen like that. Like, you were starving and you didn't know where you were going to eat next, you'd be like, I don't know where it's going to come from, but Spirit is going to provide nutrition for me through the form of food so that I may not starve. And then next thing you know, somebody be showing up at your door with this whole piping hot plate of delicious food for you to eat. And even have leftovers for the next day, okay? Because Spirit, you knew Spirit would provide for you. Wow. So we got Archangel Gabriel, okay? I call him Gabriel. Some people say it's a girl and it's Gabrielle, whatever you believe, but I refer to him as Gabriel. He was helping you get into total alignment with your soul's sacred purpose in your second life, okay? Because he was trying to help you the first time around, but this evil, abusive masculine completely short-handed you with this manipulation and keeping you to the point where you didn't have much alone time with yourself, so you couldn't have a lot of prayer time or trying to communicate with the archangels that were around you. It was like that evil masculine knew you were connected to other things that he couldn't control, so he did everything he could to keep you away from connecting to the angels and stuff he couldn't control. All right, your soul has secrets and wants you to be curious about them and seek them out. Yes, in the first life, the masculine was holding you back from being curious about, and look at number 5, curiosity. What did I say already? Sorry, guys. I'm picking up your cards off the floor, and my mouth was right next to the camera, or the microphone, and I didn't want to. Oh, man, I still have to move it. Geez, that many. But yeah, I didn't want to scream into the thing. But anyways, so wow, look at this whole pile. Oh my gosh, some of them might be upside down. We're not doing reversals with these, but you guys got protect your energy from others, astral travel, you receive spiritual upgrades through full moons, new moons, eclipses, solar and lunar, and during different portal openings. Yeah, so back in this time, during these 2 lifetimes back to back for you, you went through a lot of your transformational spiritual awakening experiences, dark night of the soul, transformational experiences. A lot of that happened during full moons, new moons, and solar or lunar eclipses, but also during different portal openings that you may not have even known about or knew existed, but there was just regularly transformations taking place within you. You were just always constantly upgrading. You also had the gift and ability in your second life, after getting away from this evil man through that first life, you were able to astral travel, which really helped you be ahead of the game with, stepping into your true purpose when you came back in the second lifetime, as that do-over life. Yeah. Also, you learned a really special lesson about how it's really important to protect your energy from others, because of that evil masculine husband of yours abusing you like that. All right. You need to see the power within you. Spirit messages you regularly through everything around you. Solar repair, your soul or higher self is working hard to repair all the emotional damage. Yes. So, yeah, basically, you were needing to just see the power within yourself the whole time. That was part of your spiritual lesson, was to acknowledge that you had the power all along, that you were courageous and brave, and that you could stand up to him, okay? That you were highly protected in doing so, but you allowed fear and fear-based reactions to hold you back. Sorry, guys. My allergies are making my throat tickle, and I have a little bit of a cough on and off. Plus, I've been talking nonstop for almost 2 hours. But anyway, yeah, so your spirit guides, they were regularly messaging you through everything around you in the first life, but you were seeing it, but this evil man was convincing you that it was all hooky hokey, nonsense, crazy talk, bullshit. ridiculous, not true, telling you that you were crazy, you were making these things up, no one else would agree with you, what are you talking about, you sound insane, that kind of stuff. And you believed it because he conditioned you by beating that into your head, like maybe even literally. He may have even, you know, put forth physical abuse over you when you tried to go against or be argumentative, and so then you didn't want to get physically hurt, so you would just agree with him, which, you know, is part of the abuse. But the entire time your soul was working so hard trying to repair all that emotional damage, but he kept putting you through so much more emotional damage as time went by that it just was like so much worse on top of worse on top of worse, and you were just like, oh my gosh, you know, and you didn't even know the severity of how much work it was going to take to get out of all of that emotional abuse. And like spirit was like, oh man, I don't think that she's going to get it. I don't think she's going to be able to in this life. She doesn't have the proper resources. You know, she's being manipulated into believing that everything we're trying to show her isn't the truth. And there's, what else can we do? She has her own free will, you know? But that's why you were given that second chance. Also, too, we have 3 more cards. A lot came out for you guys. You guys gained the ability of clairalience, which is smelling spirits. All right, so you were able to smell certain scents around you where you knew, and this was both lifetimes, you had this the whole time. You would smell something that would remind you of your grandma, okay, or your mother or your father, all of the above, and that's how you knew that spirit was there with you directly in that moment, loving you, supporting you, okay, trying to help you, guide you, let you know that you weren't alone, okay? But this evil man convinced you that you were alone and all you had was him. And because there was just no other options that you could see for it to turn out any better, because, you know, again, all that manipulation. But in that second life, when you were given that second chance, you were like, when you were being birthed in, okay, to the new body in the second life, and in your spirit form, you were like, I know that when I'm born, I'm going to not remember any of this, because the whole wipe the slate clean every time we start over when we're born. But you were like, I am going to fulfill my purpose in this life. And you did. Yes, you did. And you also paved the way for others in abusive situations, because there was something you did in the second life where you went through a similar abusive situation, but you got out of it. All right. And you used your success story in getting away and picking up your own courage and bravery. You shared that with others and you helped other people because of it. All right. And then Archangel Sandalphon was really close to you. It was one of the archangels you specifically prayed to and talked to back then. And he was trying to help you surrender your worries to him and spirit and God and all of that, so that you could open up for positive changes. And that was being blocked in that first life, but he was still there waiting to help you with the same thing in the next life. So wow, that was amazing. So if your pile was pile number 3, thank you guys for being here. This was really amazing. What an awesome reading for your past life here. And even though, you know, you didn't get it because of all the circumstances the first time around, you were given a second chance, because God can do whatever he wants, okay? And you were meant to fulfill what you came here to fulfill. And so you were given a second chance to do so. And you came back and you did it. So, heck yeah. All right. So I'm going to end the video here, guys, for anyone that may be hearing this that needed to hear this. I didn't realize this was going to go this long, but these ended up being so detailed and fun and exciting, I didn't want to cut them off. So that was the first 3 readings, and I'm going to directly make a part 2 and do piles 4, 5, and 6 in part 2. All right, guys. So I love you guys with all my heart. I'm always sending love, light, and healing. Let me know in the comments how these resonated for you, or if you felt like any of these were your past lives. I'd love to hear about it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.